Hi, I'm Adam Pacifico from the Leadership Enigma, and I am live and direct from Vorboss in central London during Tech Week with a great opportunity now to talk to a number of CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs and disruptors. What's it like to lead in London? As I say, today is as simple as it gets, and I'm excited that I have my first guest, Diptesh Patel, who is the global CEO of, let me get this right, UBDS.
That's correct.
Welcome to the studio in Vorboss for the Leadership Enigma. How are you feeling?
I'm a podcast virgin, Adam, so I'm a little bit nervous, but excited as well. But yeah, amazing to meet you, and thanks for the invite.
It's a pretty good setup, isn't it? Thank you very much. It's great that you are the first person, and I know we're going to be talking to lots of people. So, Group CEO of UBDS. Help us understand, what is that?
Right. So, UBDS is an organisation. I'm an entrepreneur. I founded it actually when I was at university, and it was a small technology organisation that didn't really do much for the first few years. I built it. I was from a family of entrepreneurs, and I felt that kind of itch of saying I want to do something. And I've built the organisation from a little bit later on, past university, a little bit of career experience, and now it's a digital lifecycle business. So it's all about how we, a group of companies, different capabilities, really key things like cyber at the moment, transformation to cloud, business change, and how we can deliver those life cycle services, which is kind of change, but also managing the service to our clients across the UK and global actually now.
I already have so many questions for you, Diptesh. In fact, you are a great first guest because in many ways you're the CEO, you're the entrepreneur, you're the founder, and you're the disruptor. So actually I've got 4 for 1. I've kind of peaked with my first guest. Tell me a little bit about you. You say you're from a family of entrepreneurs. What do you mean by that? What is that kind of innate skill set that kind of is in you to do something yourself?
I think it's that passion for really working hard, building a business, taking all your skills, helping to grow something, something that's yours. And I suppose my family, we spent so many years, my parents did, starting from when they moved to the UK back in the 70s, and just growing a set of their business, taking something very small, growing it larger. And it was really kind of learning and picking up that from them, and saying the kind of the excitement and the passion, but also the challenges with it as well.
Those go hand in glove, don't they?
They do. And I suppose from then I had a big, huge first when I was, and it started off actually, my parents had a post office. And they used the system, which unfortunately has been in the news, capture and the vigilance thing. Yeah, the post office systems. But my father got one of the first PCs out deployed in the post office. It was an old, I mean, you may remember, a compact computer. And
I'm old enough to.
I started with that, playing around with that when I was 13. I thought, this is quite an exciting career opportunity, and built my own one. And I just got the first for technology and computing, and decided that was something I was going to do, and studied and wanted to build something in. So
there's a bit of there's the entrepreneurial bug, and then there's the technology bug as well. Help people understand, because you said, I think you started it, or you had the idea at university.
Yes.
Where we certainly feel that we can do anything, can't we? We simply can't fail. Where is the organisation now? So just kind of how many people have you got now as part of?
It's just about 200 colleagues now, and we've made our first acquisition. We've done a joint venture. Very new, exciting, brings its challenges again, but we've grown from 3 or 4 of us in 2019 in a room to about 200 colleagues now, and we've just opened an office in India as well, to support as well. So it's kind of sporadically kind of grown and grown and grown, and it's great. We are supporting loads of different clients in government and in private sector, in regulated industry. So it's just every day is something different and new.
How's it feel though to have started a business with there's just 2 or 3 of you with a can-do attitude, and now you've got 200 plus people who are part of your organisation? This is what you created. This is their livelihood. This is their day-to-day purpose. How does that feel as the group CEO when you look around and you think to yourself, wow, 200 plus people?
Amazing. But also challenging. I definitely don't want to dismiss that it's certainly a roller coaster in every aspect, but it is great, and I still take my time in making sure that I meet with colleagues before they join, as part of the recruitment process.
Do you meet all of them?
I do, yeah.
That's interesting.
And I do that to ensure that I can also help those colleagues to achieve their ambitions. Organisations, they grow, can be siloed. That absolutely happens. And everyone has their kind of role that they come into. But what I've really enjoyed is meeting people and saying, understanding about what's their passion, where do they want to get to. And I always take a blank sheet of paper and say, this is where this is where you can be in the organisation. You can define it as we grow and scale. But it is awesome. It is great to see colleagues every day. But equally, it's responsibility of making sure, in the industry we're in, professional services, it's a difficult time in the world at the moment, how things can change, and what I can do to protect the organisation, protect colleagues, and also help everyone achieve their ambitions.
I love this blank piece of paper process, because in many ways that's the entrepreneur coming out again, isn't it? It's almost like, welcome to the organisation, and your career could look like this. Yeah. So is that the entrepreneur still coming out? It's still alive and kicking in you?
It is. Yesterday I did drop-in sessions. So I like to do drop-in sessions in our location so that colleagues can come and meet with me. I still had a blank piece of paper and said, right, what you're looking to do, where's your ambition, what can I do to support, what can the organisation do? Because I think everyone has a little bit of entrepreneurial flair in them. Right. It may be a little bit kind of, do I want to take some risks or not? Yeah. I'd love our organisation, and some of the companies that we've acquired in doing joint partnerships are entrepreneurs who really want to grow, and they want to have someone and an organisation that they can work with to try and test that and use that spirit. And so, I absolutely want to help everyone think outside of what they do at the moment and what can they do.
One of my passions is human-centered leadership, and I know we're all on a brief call yesterday, and I love what you say in relation to you're doing drop-ins so that people... How do you think it feels for people to know that they've got actual FaceTime access with the group CEO, that he actually takes the time to go and just say, hi, how can I help? Listen.
I think we talk about culture.
Yes.
I look back at the organisation as it's grown, and we had a certain culture, and we grow, and it becomes harder to maintain. Everyone gets busy, and then you're trying to bring it back together. And what I really have enjoyed with meeting with colleagues is keeping that culture and reinvigorating it at times. It's hard, right? It disappears, and it's kind of like, right, we need to reinvigorate it. I had some awesome feedback, and I enjoy meeting with colleagues, because as a leader, you need to work with your people and your colleagues, because they're the ones who can tell you the challenges.
Tell it like it is.
And absolutely. And so that you can take that and be able to not necessarily just cut through all of the different processes and things that may be there, but help you to kind of understand from the organisation's perspective, which may be distilled, it may get lost, to then try and maintain that culture and reinvigorate things and to get everyone in a good place. And I had some great feedback. I had a colleague who joined us nearly 4 years ago, and at the start, and he said, I've had this kind of, again, roller coaster of what my career should look like. Yes. And we talked about it, and he asked for my advice, and I felt so humbled that he said, where do you think, or what do you think I should do? And the beauty of being that leader as a CEO is I'm not siloed in any particular areas. I want the right thing for our people, and it just enabled me to say, I think you've done great here from what I've heard. I've seen some awesome stuff. I can see your excitement in your face about what you've been doing recently, and perhaps that's the path you need to take. And it just brings that collegiate spirit and brings everyone together.
You know, I always say that leadership is energy expensive, and that's what you're describing. Is you're spending the time and the energy on connecting with your people. Interesting, you also spoke about that you speak to every single person who joins the firm. So culture is obviously important to you. Are you looking for culture fit when you're having, because you probably can see the technical side quite quickly, or the ability to take on the necessary skills and capabilities. Are you really looking for culture?
Yeah, so actually that last element of the process isn't, and I describe this to people when they join, which is, I'm a bit nervous, I'm meeting the CEO, and I'm like, but the purpose of this and the context I give is you're actually interviewing me.
Right.
So what I ask is 3 things, which is number 1, tell me about yourself. I just want to know the individual, what's going on in their world, their life.
The human.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the second element is to interview me. And they kind of normally a bit set aback. I'm like, you've met with colleagues, they've asked you loads of questions. I'd like to know, it's an open kind of question. Just, you can ask me. I get unusual questions like, what car do I drive? And
right. What's been the best question you've ever had?
Oh,
well, you've kind of thought, oh, hang on, that's an interesting one, or left of field one.
That's a good question. I have to recall now. Probably it's got to be. I have two little questions I ask. And hopefully anyone who joins us doesn't hear this. But,
are we giving it away?
What frustrates you?
Yes.
Is my first question.
Yep.
And what makes you angry? And I've been asked the same question back again, which when I have to reflect myself,
yes,
has been interesting. And I asked that as part of it, as I only asked two questions, because I really think that it's a good way to find out how people are resilient, or can they be resilient, or what could, and from a cultural fit, what could really kind of impede them in being successful in the business.
Okay. So you're trying to find out what could get in the way.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Rather than anything else, because it's a joint agreement. You're kind of doing something together. It's not it's just for us. And that's why I kind of offer these questions, say, ask me anything you want, so that they can feel that if there's anything that's been unanswered. And I started this actually when the company was only 5-6 people, because at that time people were like, oh, you're a very small organisation, I'm a bit worried about it.
Right.
And this is just a way to break silos, understand, have that blank sheet and tell me where you want to get to, because I want to be an enabler for that.
The art of the possible.
Yeah.
Let me ask you the questions. There's always intriguing and interesting things about everybody's life, but we chatted earlier before we were in the episode. You said that you had a period of time as a special constable.
I did.
In the Met. Now, the reason that obviously resonates is obviously I served in the Met as well. Why did you do that? Because that is quite an undertaking to actually volunteer and be on the front line in London. And let's be honest, London can be a little fruity at times.
Indeed.
But what prompted that?
So this is really back down to I'm a really outcome-driven person. We say we want to do something. It's like I want to understand it in depth. And I worked for the Home Office for a while, and in policing technology. And the mandate or the request was, we need to convert all this paper process in policing into some digital technology, digital solutions.
Right.
And I thought, wow, that sounds interesting. And it's like, well, how can I understand the needs, the user needs, and what the constraints, what happens? And it was very much go and speak to several officers in the Met and kind of understand. And I was like, okay, I get it. There's all these stack of books, as you'll recall, the evidence book. And it's like, okay, I understand. But what are the practicalities? And so I thought, I was getting through it and I was like, there's certain things I don't understand. And I thought, I want to get deep into it. I really want to understand it so I can make an impact and get that outcome achieved.
Yes.
And so I decided to apply to the Met as a special constable. I got through the process. And it was a 6-month training regime every weekend. It was quite full on. It's a lot quicker now. And and I became a special for 6 years, which was in Westminster, so very fun, very interesting times. And it was really great. So, you can have a tablet to take things when you're running around, on the street and you're going after people, the tablet's going to get broken. So what can you do? So there was just an awesome learning experience that then helped me to help from the other side of
fully immersive for you, isn't it? It's a very visceral way of understanding what it's like for someone. But I'm intrigued because that's a hell of a decision. Rather than just go and speak to some people and do some research, you thought, well, hang on, I'm actually going to put the uniform on and commit to it for 6 years. That says a lot about you. And do you think that you learnt or experienced things that ordinarily you would never have had access to because you were doing the job?
Absolutely. One of the things that I spent a lot of time reflecting on is my personality trait. So my Myers-Briggs is ENTP, and 10 years ago, I probably did a test I didn't know, and I did it recently. And I think one of the things that and as a leader, it's essential to be able to develop your EQ as time goes, to be able to develop your ability to work with people, different situations. I don't know if you recall in the Met when there's a challenging situation, you're trained not to say calm down, because that can be a little bit incendiary and provokes the individual and say, oh look, and so understanding how to work with different people, different situations, whether it's high stakes situations as well. Absolutely,
let's be honest.
And I think as a leader, it's really important to be able to develop yourself, connect with yourself. What do you do around working with people? Because humans are always going to be there, AI will come in, but not take over all humans.
Well, that's what I said that in Johannesburg only last week, where I said the future of leadership is deeply human. AI will do the rest. So that's why we're having this conversation. If we talk about that role, we talk about your role as a CEO and know over 200 people. Resilience has got to come into the equation because, let's be honest, it doesn't always work, or there's always going to be setbacks. So what is kind of your message for leaders at any level as regards the importance or application of resilience, just day to day, especially in the world which has gone slightly mad?
This one's hard. My resilience is super tested at the moment.
Okay.
And especially, you have your ups and downs as a leader, as an entrepreneur, trying to build something, trying to maintain it. It's your thing. It's your baby.
Yeah.
What I've learned, and it's something that I have to do every day now, is very much, I wake up. There are times I sit on the edge of the bed and I kind of think, I don't want to go into this day. I actually got up Monday morning and I thought it was Friday morning.
Right.
So that was hard.
That's feedback.
Yeah, and it's kind of saying, right, it's testing. I look at the end of each day at one positive thing that happened.
Okay.
And I was taught that. I have an amazing coach, and just looking at that one positive thing at the end of the day, rather than all of the things.
Sea of challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just helped me, and celebrating those wins more than focusing on what's a negative and difficult world. And and I think for resilience, you've got to look at those positive things, not to dismiss the challenges, because as a leader, there is always going to be a sea of challenges. And that one thing at the end of each day, and then start looking at the next day in what you're looking forward to for the day.
Okay.
And I think that's really, really important. It is a very difficult climate at the moment. I think people forget leaders are humans.
Oh, that's why we're having this conversation.
And they have personalities, they have their own challenges, personal challenges. Your work, your life, yes, you're in a role and you have to please everyone. You have to please clients, you have to please your people, you have to please your family, friends.
And as Group CEO, you are all-knowing.
Well, that's it. I think that's really interesting. It's someone said, you're not born to me. You're not born with a manual or knowledge base that says this is how to be a leader or CEO. You gain skills, you acquire skills.
Like being a parent, right?
Yeah,
we learn as we go.
Exactly. Yeah. But you surround yourself with the very best people, complementary skills. I always say that I work for our chief people officer in reality, because I look for Emma to guide me and coach me into doing the right things as well.
Shout out to Emma.
Yeah, shout out to Emma. So I am. So it's being surrounded by colleagues who really want to support you. But as the ultimate leader, sometimes it feels very lonely. And that resilience is, I would always recommend everyone to, first of all, look at those positives, try and avoid just the sea of challenges, but also build peer networks. It does help to talk to others, because everyone's having the same challenges. Everyone does.
But did you say it can be lonely if you're at the top of an organisation, which you are?
Yeah.
Let me ask you just another couple of questions.
Sure.
One is, you're a founder.
I am.
But you're the group CEO.
I am.
Now, there's always the challenge of a founder to know when to get out of the way. How are you navigating that challenge in relation to when do you have to get someone else in to maybe be the CEO and you'll forever be the founder? Where is that in your thinking?
I mean, there's a few concepts that I've picked up as the business has grown.
Yes.
And the first is the team for the time.
Yep.
So
I like that.
And as you grow and scale, there will always be a team for the time. And that's not to diminish the great work that people have done. But and I include myself in that. Yeah. Okay. There's a team for the time for me, because there is only so much that you can acquire and learn. And you've got to look at the business more than self. And I have learned more in the last 6 years than I've probably learned, in the new phase of the business, rather than the last 20 years, than I have probably in my entire career. And
some lessons you could have done without as well, right?
Some lessons 100% could have done without. And I think as we go to the next point, which is, well, you've got to look at am I the right person, the team for the time as the company grows to the next thing? And I might be, what I really enjoy is finding solutions. I love meeting with other CEOs. I love meeting with our clients, our partners, and saying, what's the challenge out there? And looking at what ideas I can come with to fix things. And when you start to look at a professional CEO, I'll describe it, who've got a very, very different, probably a very different approach to a founder. There will be a time when I'm not the right person for that team, but I'll be maybe a different role in that team. But it's absolutely the right team for the time.
In your role as Group CEO, I could have this conversation for ages with you, Diptesh.
Sure.
As Group CEO, what's the number one challenge on your mind right now?
I wish it was just one. That's the problem.
That's it. That's the issue itself.
The main thing is, and I explained to some colleagues the other day, I'm as well as doing drop-ins, I'm kind of popping into these other sessions, and everyone needs income. It's the first thing, whether it's personal, because income pays the bills. So it's always going to be revenue. It's always going to be about how can we deliver awesome experiences and then work with and other organisations, share what we've done, help them, and it'll always
be sustainable.
Absolutely, yes, and that's sustainable income. And again, in the world of professional services, it's always very up and down. So the world is changing. There's been a change in government. It kind of feels like yesterday, but it's been a while now. It's a hard world. We've got kind of geopolitical things that do just create an impact. It's always going to be making sure we've got that sustainable revenue, because as you end up growing, the cost base grows. So it's always going to be that. I also think the next challenge is about making sure that we can help our colleagues to apply new skills and new learning. So COVID, no matter what anyone says, it still has a lasting impact for me.
We're still dealing with it.
Completely does. And we've brought in early career professionals, and I'm really happy how they've developed through the organisation. But there was the element of professional services always needs, and you've come from a professional services background as well, that human interaction. And how do we introduce AI, and how do we do these things? So we are looking at reimagining professional services. How will it work in the future? How can we deliver value to clients? So I still think it's always going to be that challenge of revenue, but then applying that to how we reimagine ourselves to then support our clients in the future, introduce new technologies, the expectation, reduce costs. Because technologies now, or professional services, is certainly commoditized. I think it's becoming much more commoditized, and so therefore you need to have unique propositions.
You're forever reinventing yourself, aren't you? And having that creativity. Final question: what's the best? You may have answered this already, actually, Diptesh. What's the best piece of leadership advice you've ever given or received that is front of mind for you?
I really think it's those elements I mentioned about celebrating wins. Start celebrating wins before you start any meeting. I think that makes a huge difference to what you're going to start to do. So celebrating those wins, we do every week as an organisation, but we start our meetings with that, and it doesn't need to be long. And the other bit is just looking back at what's been a successful outcome at the end of the day. So today's one will absolutely be this, my first ever podcast with Adam and the Vorboss team, and that will help me to have learnt, but also to be able to kind of look back and think from the challenges of today, this was something that made me happy, that made me smile like it is now.
Well, I really appreciate that feedback. But for Vorboss and the podcast, we wouldn't have met. So I'm always humbled by the people I get the opportunity to meet and chat to on the Leadership Enigma. Diptesh,
thank you very much.
So much.
Adam. Thank you.
And thank you for being guest number 1.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks.